It wasn't perfect, but the Auburn Tigers get their first win of the season.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into this special live edition as we react to the Auburn Tigers. Auburn Basketball getting their first win of the season against Southeastern Louisiana in a game that went how a lot of people thought. I did expect Auburn to pull away more over the course of the game. That precious over-under line was 23.5, courtesy of our friends at FanDuel. They didn't quite get there, but a 15-point win, 86-71. You take it. I'm Zach Blackerby, your host of Locked On Auburn. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're solo today. We'll get into that later, but the biggest takeaway to me was how impressive KD Johnson was. And he did different things that stood out to me that I said, okay, KD doesn't always do that. The way KD Johnson attacked the basket early in this game, I think that's what he does best. You look at his frame, you look at his style of play. I mean, he's an aggressive player, especially defensively. But last year we saw him want to shoot from deep so often, and it just didn't work as much as we probably thought it should. What he did tonight was great early on, and I had in my notes, I typed it out, and I said, KD Johnson, when he attacks the basket, he's so much better. And then he started making threes. What he made, did he just get two? Kind of felt like more. He's 2 for 5 from three. So 40%. You take that from behind the arc, especially from the way KD Johnson was playing outside of that. Always a good defender. He had a great pass late to Dylan Cardwell, kind of when Southeastern Louisiana wasn't going away. So that was a huge one. KD Johnson, hats off to you. Incredible game by him. And in fact, if KD Johnson plays that way throughout the course of the season, I mean, that'd be such a jump from where he was a year ago. I mean, that's almost like getting a new transfer, right? We talked about the addition of Denver Jones. We talked about the addition of Chad Baker-Mazara, getting Aiden Holloway, Janai Johnson. Getting KD Johnson to play like that, that's kind of how he started his career at Auburn. Sign me up for that any day of the week. Yes, folks in the live chat saying, Tosa saying KD was the spark that we needed to get things going. You're absolutely right, because the way you saw this game start, it was a little slow. It was a little sluggish. It's like Auburn couldn't get themselves excited for Southeastern Louisiana. I don't blame them. I don't blame them, especially, when you were so psyched up to play Baylor in this big primetime Tuesday night matchup, and then you go to that. I'm sure that's tough. But I thought KD Johnson was fantastic. That was one of my bigger takeaways from this. The next one, Janai Broome. We talked about this a little bit, Daryl and I did, after recapping the loss to Baylor earlier in the week. But he's just moving, I think, more smooth than we saw a year ago. Some of it's post moves. Some of it's just kind of moving around, positioning himself when he doesn't have the basketball. But Janai Broome just seems to be more active, and I love it. I'm here for it, and it's showing up in the stat sheet. Janai Broome led the Auburn Tigers with 18 points. He was 7 of 12 from the field. And weirdly enough, I kind of joked that I think he was 2 of 3 from behind the arc against Baylor. Somebody correct me in the live chat if I'm wrong on that. But he was 1 of 1 tonight. And once again, normally I don't like my centers shooting threes, but if he's going to be 3 of 4 from this season, maybe he should shoot it more. I guess that's something he worked on over the course of it. Okay, I got to acknowledge it. Every comment's about, yes, I shaved, people. I shaved. I look 12 now. I'm so sorry for the audio listeners. This doesn't impact you at all. But yes, I shaved. I acknowledge it. I was going to ignore it, but all of y'all are commenting about it. So there you go. But props to Janai Broome. That was another takeaway for me. The next one, Aiden Holloway continues to not look like a freshman in some regards. I think when he doesn't have, when he's not guarding the ball carrier on defense, sometimes I don't know if he's always standing in the right spot defensively. I think coaching will help that. I mean, Bruce Pearl puts such an emphasis on aggressive defense. I think he's going to change how he plays defense a little bit when he's not guarding the defender with the basketball. But offensively, 11 points, 4 of 10 from the floor. But I mean, I don't love that 8 of his 10 shots were threes. Don't know if anybody should be shooting 8 threes. Just being real, but 3 of 8, like, that's not bad. Like, you take that. You take it. But I want Aiden kind of attacking the basket more. 3 assists. I mean, solid outing for Aiden. No question about it. The 4 of 10 looks bad. And then you're like, well, he shot 8 threes and made 3 of them. Like, that's okay. That's okay. Not great, but that's okay. Trent saying fouls. Yes. Trent talking about, hey, fouls went down from 19 to 19 from 32 the other night. 100%. I mean, this wasn't as physical of a game, right? I think that has a lot to do with it. I think the crew has something to do with it. But this was Auburn was playing against a basketball team that they were bigger, faster, stronger, just better shooters. All around, they were just better. They were better, with the exception of, who was that kid? They had a dude that went crazy. What was his name? Roger McFarland. Roger, if you want to enter the portal this offseason and come to Auburn, I would not be upset. I would not be upset at all. That guy was crazy good. But outside of that guy, like, it was just, they didn't have anything. They didn't have anything. So it wasn't really a situation where Auburn needed a foul a lot, but Trent, you're right. You're right. And there were a few instances, like, you could tell Janai particularly, it kind of seemed like he was trying not to, and he was really frustrated with himself. He got called for an over-the-back foul that he was trying to argue, which it wasn't over the back. And I think when you're so much bigger than the guy that is trying to block you out or box you out, it kind of makes it look worse. So you're always going to get called for that. But still, there you go. There you go. Yeah, never screw with a winning streak. Yeah, I'm glad that y'all care about my facial hair so much. I had no idea. Okay, other guys that stood out to me. Denver Jones late. I love that he made that 3 late because he was kind of cold shooting for the night, but he was really good with distribution. He had 4 assists, and a lot of them were really setting up his teammates when they were wide open. So I love that, because that's not really what you think when we talk about getting Denver Jones. You think about that true 2, that true shooter. Can this guy be Bryce Brown type, emphasis on offense? And he had 4 really solid assists last night. I believe one of them was to KD, that he got his first 3. I believe that's correct. But all in all, I love that. And then there was just some subtle defensive plays, like when he was running and there was a fast break, Southeastern Louisiana. It looked like an easy bucket. And Denver made such a smart veteran play by not going for the basketball, but just kind of running in front of him to throw off his speed. I love that. Don't risk the foul, because he's probably going to score anyway. And then you altered his attack and approach to the basket just enough. I thought that was outstanding. A little something that doesn't really show up in the stat sheet. So there we go. My mother's calling out free throws. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really notice free throws. No, 17 of 20. No, you take that. You take that for sure. 17 of 20 from the charity stripe. Absolutely. Clay Sharpe, friend of the program, says I look like a child. So thanks, guys. I'm never shaving again. But thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for the support on all of that. Guys, I still want more from Jaylen Williams. I just do. And he made 2 threes, which I love. I love that he made 2 threes. But man, I think he should be doing more. In 21 minutes, he shot it 7 times. His plus minus is always solid. Like, he does some great stuff on the defensive side of the floor. I just think at this point, I want more offensively out of Jaylen Williams, especially if he's going to shoot it 7 times, which normally Jaylen doesn't do that. That's where we're like, Jaylen, shoot it more. 2 for 7's not great. 2 for 7's not great. In fact, he went 2 of 5 from 3, right? So, the two things, his 2 shots closer to the basket he missed. Auburn was really bad on layups, 11 of 22 on layups when they get close to the basket. Seemed like Katie Johnson was effective at that, and nobody else really was. I guess Janai Broom probably was too. It depends on how they categorize a layup. But this was a sloppy game. You could tell Auburn was not hyped for this game from the get-go. Sloppy game all together. All right, y'all start dropping some questions or comments. We'll get to those in a second. The last thing that I thought would be an interesting talking point for this was the fact that, okay, late Southeastern Louisiana trimmed the lead. They cut into the deficit, and it was a single-digit game with about, was that like 8-ish minutes to go? And it's like, okay, this is interesting, because then we instantly think back to what happened against Baylor, where Auburn had control of that game for a good chunk of it, and then Baylor started kind of getting momentum, and then Auburn couldn't really slow them down or do anything about it. Now, obviously, totally different situation. Baylor's way better than Southeastern Louisiana. You're at home tonight. You're not in South Dakota, neutral site tournament game type feel. Totally different thing. But if they would have come closer and Auburn only win this game, by single digits, I do think the narrative is like, okay, can we not close for anything? What's going on? So I do think long-term, you can make the argument that Southeastern Louisiana getting closer and Auburn kind of fighting them off. Maybe they learned something. Maybe the coaching staff learned which guys to use down the stretch. I don't know. But I did notice that over the course, because the effort's going to be there. It's just they didn't really close against Baylor. Once again, not a similar situation, but I do think that's worth mentioning. A few comments about Chaney Johnson. And he's a guy that I thought would be more present on the offensive side of things. He shot 11 times. And I don't have a problem with that in this game. In an SEC game going 2 for 11, stop shooting the basketball. But I think they want him to be involved. I think they want him to get going, and he looked good in the exhibition game. So that's kind of one where I'm a little surprised it's taken him this long to kind of get involved in the offense. But shooting 11 times and scoring 4 points is not good. That is not good. Did get 11 rebounds. I'll take that. But I thought he would be more of a presence on the offensive side of the floor. It sounds like a lot of you guys agree in the live chat as well. So, Jake asks, don't know if I'm liking the platoon rotation. Hard to get into a rhythm. Yeah, we saw that against Baylor too, right? Where you'd have your starting 5, and then they take 4 guys out and leave Janai Broom in, and they'd rotate the other 4, and then they slowly rotate people in and out after that. I think, Jake, ironically, the argument for a platoon is it's easy to get into a rhythm because you're playing with the same guys that you platoon with. That's your unit. That's your package, to use football terms. But I'm with you. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of consistency with that. But I just have a hard time seeing Pearl playing this many guys in conference play. And somebody else asked a second ago, somebody asked about Lior. Sam asked, why is Lior Berman getting minutes? And I don't have a great answer for that. He played 2 minutes. Is that worth talking about? I don't know, but I'm with you. He played against Baylor too. So it's a worthy question. Gracie says, I don't like Berman on defense. I'm with you. I don't think he's playing for defense, Gracie. That's just a hunch. I don't know that, but that's kind of been a thing since he's been here 10 years ago. So, all right. How about Janai getting bullied by the slow Viking? And yeah, we all know who you're talking about there. I don't know if I'd say he was getting bullied, right? I mean, he kind of did whatever he wanted to offensively, War Eagle Wyoming. I mean, he went 7 of 12 from the floor. He made all of his free throws. I don't know. I don't look at anything Janai Broom did tonight and say, yeah, that stunk. I just don't. I just don't. I think that was a good one. Okay. Storm says Janai has decent numbers, but why am I feeling that there's still something missing? Maybe I'm off on this. A lot of you guys are being critical of Janai Broome. I thought Janai looked great tonight. I opened my show talking about how smooth he's playing compared to how he looked a year ago. To me, he looks like a more fresh, a more spry form of who we saw a year ago. And he kind of battled some injuries and he got hurt in the exhibition game. It seems like he's okay now. But to me, I think Janai looks a lot better. So am I off on this? Am I off on this? I don't know. Conservative Cowboy says War Eagle. War Eagle, conservative Cowboy. War Eagle. Gracie says, I like Baker and KD tonight. Great rebound game for J. Will. Yeah, I mean, Jaylen Williams does a lot of things well. I just want him to be a better scorer and a more consistent scorer than he is right now because he's capable of it. He's got the talent. Bruce Pearl loves Jaylen Williams for a million different reasons. And it's okay on nights where he scores, 9 points on his 2 shots because he does everything else. He actually only had 3 rebounds. It felt like he had more, but he only had 3. Chad Baker, sure. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, we're going saying Jaylen only had 3 rebounds. All right, cool. So one thing I want to ask you guys now, and it's been pretty well documented over the course of the non-conference schedule here. So Auburn heads up to Brooklyn. They play Notre Dame, and then depending on if they win or lose, they'll either play Oklahoma State or St. Bonaventure, which is wild to me that that's the name of a real school, St. Bonaventure. Where do you go to school? I go to St. Bonaventure. I don't know. It sounds like a mouthful. I go to Auburn. That sounds normal, right? Alabama A&M, and then Virginia Tech. And so I guess my question to y'all is, over these next few events, these next few non-conference events, let's look at the next 5 games. Notre Dame, Oklahoma State / St. Bonaventure, Alabama A&M, and then Auburn participates in the ACC SEC Challenge, where they host Virginia Tech, and then they play Appalachian State in on the road, which is kind of interesting. So what do you think the record will be over those next 5 games? While y'all are answering that, Sam says no mention of the Jumbotron man. Dylan Cardwell, weirdly enough, got that name from that weird Baylor broadcast over the week. Yeah, I think Dylan, these are the types of games that Dylan Cardwell's awesome because he's way bigger, way better, way stronger than the other center. It's like when he plays that much in conference play where I'm like, or against Baylor earlier in the week. But yeah, Jumbotron man was great. He was great. He had a great slam from on an assist from Katie Johnson late that kind of held off a little bit of a run. So you certainly love that too. Clay Sharpe's coming out swinging. If you don't like Janai, you don't know basketball. Clay Sharpe, calm down. I love it. I love the passion. Clay. All right, Trent saying 4-1 over the next 5. Barry is saying 4-1. Gracie's bugging. She says 5-0. Gracie, I love it. I absolutely love the bug. My mom says 4-1. So that's what I say. Way to go, Mom. Storm says 5-0. Sam says 3-2. Come on, Sam. Come on. I'm thinking 4-1 as well. I'm not going to act like I know a lot about Notre Dame. But the fact that it's in Brooklyn makes me, and I talked to Bruce Pearl about this when he came on my show, friend of the program, Bruce Pearl, about how, he really dressed up this non-conference, and he jokingly said, I wish I was playing Notre Dame in South Dakota, just because there's going to be a lot of Notre Dame folks in Brooklyn. So that's going to be probably going to feel like a road game, even though it technically won't be. But once again, good experience, right? I mean, all of these types of situations, it's why you go to Brooklyn to play Notre Dame and hopefully Oklahoma State. That's why you go to South Dakota to play Baylor, because it's going to kind of simulate tournament type situations when it really matters in a few months. So I love it. Conservative Cowboy. Is that your real name? Conservative Cowboy? He said 4-1. Floppy Toppy says 4-1. Jim says 4-1. Farm Data says 5-0. Yeah, so I think we're all kind of in the same boat here, except for Sam. Sam thinks Auburn stinks, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. But I think 4-1 as well. I love the opportunity to play Notre Dame, potentially Oklahoma State, and to play Virginia Tech. I mean, all of these Power 5 teams, I think it's awesome. Because our non-conference schedule last year, on paper, it was bad. But then when you look at it, it's like Auburn played a bunch of tournament teams because all the teams that they happened to play won their conference tournament. So like it ended up being an okay schedule in hindsight. But I love playing these Power 5 teams. I love it. I love it. AJ saying 5-0, top 20 ranking. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if we'll be ranked if we do that, but I'm cool with it. Clay says 6-0 over the next 5. I'm all about it. Conservative Cowboy says that is his real name. I love it. Yeah. All right. So we're all kind of in the same page here. So what I want to see more of moving forward is just these guys continuing to mesh, right? This is still a new team. This is still a team that's getting used to playing with each other. And also they got to figure out what they're doing with the point guard situation. And like somebody asked earlier, and I wasn't able to get to it, but like, is Trey Donaldson going to start at point guard and we're just going to rotate Aiden in? Like, I'm cool. I guess I'm okay with that. It doesn't really matter. We did that 2 years ago with the Walker and Jabari year when we won the conference, where like Zepp would start and then Wendell played more. I mean, that worked. We could do that again. But Aiden played 22 minutes. Trey played 18. But Trey started. Does that matter? I don't know. And if you're going to do the whole platoon thing and rotate guys in, like if you feel like Denver is such a big part of what you need to score and you take him off and bring Aiden on, like I get the argument for that. So you don't really have a drop off in production. And also, I think Trey's a better defender. And so in games where they've got a dynamic point guard, Trey's on him to start the game. I get it. I get the thought behind it. I don't know if it's going to stay that way or not. I don't know. Because I assume that was that way going to Baylor because Aiden was kind of like day to day. We didn't know if he was going to play or not because he was in a boot, didn't play in the exhibition game and all that stuff. So, yeah. Warrior Wyoming says great early season chemistry for a team with so many new pieces. Sure. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Gracie says we should be ranked by the way we played versus Baylor. Baylor is overhyped. I think we want Baylor to be good if we're trying to make a case for us to be ranked, right? If we keep winning, we'll be ranked. I'm not worried about that. We'll get there. All right, cool. Give me if anybody's got any takes or questions, we'll wrap this up in the next few minutes here. Let everybody have a good Friday night. Thank y'all for stopping by. Please like this video, subscribe, helps the channel out a ton. Trent says, well, you started, now you shaved on a win. No more facial hair till we lose. So Trent, I think there's two ways this could go. Do I not touch it until we lose? Or do I shave every day until we lose? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how this all works because I don't really shave that much. My wife hates it, by the way. My wife hates it when I shave. She thinks I look ridiculous. And I really don't have an argument against it. I just don't. I got done and I'm like, what did I do? I made a mistake. That's okay. All right. Guys, thank y'all so much for coming by. Really, really appreciate it. We will be live after every Auburn basketball game. And so the next one will be Thursday as Auburn hopefully takes down Notre Dame, but that will be in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Daryl will be back. Daryl's got some family stuff going on, hanging out with the kids. He didn't need to pass that up. He was super gracious and gave me plenty of heads up and all that. So he's the best. So We'll be back Thursday to recap Auburn and Notre Dame and also tell you everything you need to know about how the Legends Classic is set up. And so we'll probably know who we're playing at that point the following day. So we'll have back-to-back shows Thursday and Friday. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. So until then, click subscribe, like the video. There's a bonus episode of Locked on Auburn coming out Saturday morning. So much content. Please watch as much of it as you feel led to. In honor of Daryl Dapprich, we all just got dapped. This has been Locked on Auburn.